Just before we start the video, I recorded this the day before the Premier League season started. I wasn't able to edit it or upload it over the weekend as I didn't have my computer. Let's get on with this. How's it going everyone, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing my predictions for this season's coming up Premier League. Wow, I mess that up. But anyway, basically in this video I'm going to be telling you where I think teams will finish and why I think they'll finish there, and I'm also going to, say a player to watch from each team as well for next season, because I don't know why, just an added thing I guess, rather than just a standard predictions video really. But yeah, let's get on with this. So the first team I have, starting at the bottom, first team finishing bottom, unfortunately I have Hull City finishing bottom, and I think nearly everyone has predicted this, to be honest. No, can I just say as well, I don't support or like or hate any teams in the Premier League, okay? Let's stop right there. Firstly, I hate Stoke City, okay? I'm a Port Vale fan, so by nature I have to hate Stoke City. I, however, do not hate their team. I think they have a great team, and if I was biased on this, then I would have had Stoke to finish bottom, okay? So, there you go. Let's carry on. Okay, this is completely unbiased. Yeah. So, Hull to finish bottom. The reason I can only base it on what is happening right now. Today is the 12th of August. It is the day before the season starts, and Hull City kick off the season against Leicester at home tomorrow. And yeah, the state they're in is amazing. They don't have a manager, unless you count Mike Phelan as your manager now. I think they've only got, 12 fit senior players. And that is obviously not good enough for the Premier League. They haven't signed anyone. They don't know if they're going to get sold or not. They are just in an absolute dire mess right now at Hull City. But yeah, I'm going to predict them to finish bottom, and I've got to give you guys a player to watch from Hull City, and I think that player is going to be Abel Hernandez. He scored lots of goals in the Championship last season, and I think now he's got the momentum and he can carry on and score goals in the Premier League, because he wasn't the best last time, was he, you, in the Premier League? Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, this is completely unbiased. Yeah. So Hull to finish bottom. The reason I can only base it on what is happening right now. Today is the 12th of August. It is the day before the season starts, and Hull City kick off the season against Leicester at home tomorrow. And yeah, the state they're in is amazing. They don't have a manager, unless you count Mike Phelan as your manager now. I think they've only got, 12 fit senior players, and that is obviously not good enough for the Premier League. They haven't signed anyone. They don't know if they're going to get sold or not. They are just in an absolute dire mess right now at Hull City. But yeah, I'm going to predict them to finish bottom, and I've got to give you guys a player to watch from Hull City, and I think that player is going to be Abel Hernandez. He scored lots of goals in the Championship last season, and I think now he's got the momentum and he can carry on and score goals in the Premier League, because he wasn't the best last time, was he, you, in the Premier League? Yeah, let's move on. This next team was, it was a tough one to pick. There was two teams I had in the relegation zone that I thought, right, they're going to go down, but the third team was really hard, and this might surprise a lot of you guys, but the team I'm going to have finishing 19th is Swansea. Now, I've seen a lot of people predict West Brom, but I think West Brom are good enough to survive, whereas Swansea, sure, they've signed good players like Borja Baston, Fernando Llorente, but they've sold two of their key players from last season. You've sold Andre Ayew to West Ham, and they've sold Ashley Williams, who, if anything, was one of your best players. He was your captain, and now he's gone to Everton, and I think that's killed you, to be honest. I think that's killed Swansea off. Again, great signings, like I've said, but are they really going to keep them up? They could do, but for me, they're not going to. A key player from Swansea, their key player this season, I think, is going to be Jefferson Montero. He needs a big season. He's been at Swansea for a couple of years now, and he's done okay. Yeah, you can tell that he is a threat on that wing, but he hasn't played a lot, and I think he needs a big season this season. Otherwise, he could well leave. As you might have guessed, the third team that I've got in the relegation zone is, unfortunately, Burnley. Again, for the same reasons as the last couple of times. They've hardly signed anyone. They've signed 3 players. 2 of them were from Charlton, who went down to League One. And John Flanagan, that's a good signing. but it's only on loan. I could understand Burnley do not have the budget to sign lots and lots of players, but that's your problem. You need to sign someone, whether it's for free, whether it's for $1 million, or whether it's for you spend all of their money on one player. They need to sign someone. They need to sign a game changer. And unfortunately for the Premier League, I don't think they have one. Their player to watch is Andre Gray. That one's an obvious one, really, isn't it? But is he going to score lots of goals this season? Because basically, this is the same situation as Burnley had last time. They had Danny Ings in the Championship who scored goals for fun. They came up to the Premier League and, yeah, he scored a lot of goals, but not as much, you know. And I think that the same thing is going to happen to Andre Gray. Now, in 17th place and just surviving the drop. Again, another surprise in a way, because a lot of other people haven't said this, but Crystal Palace I have to finish 17th, to just beat the drop. The reason I think that is because of, I don't know really, because of last season really. They had a great start to the season, were they on like 6th at Christmas or something, and then didn't they win one game in 2016 in the league? Just one game in 5 months. Now, their key player is going to be Andros Townsend, and I haven't got a picture for him because I'm stupid and forgot to put a picture on for him. 16th place I have West Brom, the team that many people are predicting to go down, but I think they're good enough. If they keep Berahino, they're good enough, but if they sell Berahino, you know. But then again, if they sell Berahino, they're going to get someone else in because...
You get the point.
I think they're interested in Christian Benteke, along with Crystal Palace as well. If either of them sign him, then I think that they could be further up the table. But obviously, like I said at the beginning, I've got to base it on what I'm seeing now. Their key player, I think, is going to be Salomon Rondon this season, their player to watch. He had an okay first season, he scored a few goals, but I think this season that he is going to kill it. 15th place, I think they finished in this position last year. Bournemouth, I'm not too sure, but I have them to finish 15th. I have them to just, you know, fair enough. They may not have the squad to go higher than 15th. That's fair enough, but I don't think they're going to go down. They've gone out and they've spent money, you know, and that's what you need to do in the Premier League for a new season. They've obviously got the likes of Jordan Ibe and Brad Smith from Liverpool, you know, brilliant signings, and Jordan Ibe is going to be their player to watch, I think, because he didn't get much game time for Liverpool in the last couple of years. He's going to be a regular starter because obviously Matt Ritchie's left to Newcastle, and I think that he's going to kill it for Bournemouth. Personally, I think he's going to be really good for Bournemouth. So yeah, Bournemouth to finish 15th. In 14th place is the third and final newly promoted team from the Championship, and that is Middlesbrough. Now, the reason I have them to finish so high up compared to Burnley and Hull is because Middlesbrough have spent money and they have brought in some really good players. Victor Valdez, Victor Fisher, Barragan from Valencia, Alvaro Negredo. That is a recipe for success in the Premier League, but none of those players are my player to watch for Middlesbrough. Jordan Rhodes is the player to watch for Middlesbrough this season. I don't think he's ever played in the Premier League before. He's been stuck in Championship and League One, and every single season, or mostly, for Blackburn and for Huddersfield, he was scoring goals for fun. And in January, he earned a transfer to Middlesbrough. Didn't score as many goals, but he's still a very clinical finisher. In 13th place, I have Sunderland, which may be a little bit of a surprise, considering Sunderland 13th, you know, like the last 3 or 4 years, they've kept on changing the manager and just surviving in a spectacular fashion. They've been doing Wiggins for the last few years of Sunderland, but I think this year will be different. Why? Because they have a manager who has just been appointed at the start of the season, and they're not going to sack him in October or November, unless they're doing extremely badly. David Moyes is a fantastic appointment for Sunderland. If Sam Allardyce was still there, I would have predicted them higher, to be honest, because he did a fantastic job with them last season. David Moyes will steady the ship, if anything. He's not going to take them to new heights or anything yet. David Moyes is one of those managers who is consistent where he finishes, and I think that he will be able to bring Sunderland away from the relegation zone and towards mid-table, but no further than that, I don't think. Their player to watch for me is Lamine Kone, but as I'm recording this, apparently he's going to be going to Everton, which is a bit stupid of them, which is a bit stupid of Sunderland really, because when he signed for them, Kone, he was one of their best players. Even though he's a centre-back, He scored when it mattered. He scored goals when it mattered, and he was fantastic in defence. In 12th place, I have Stoke, and now I am a Port Vale fan, but there is no bias in this at all. I think Stoke have a fantastic team. The only problem with that is that they just can't get away from that mid-table bit. You know what I mean? And I think that there are other teams that can finish higher than Stoke this season. I don't think they're going to struggle at all, Stoke. I think they'll just cement their place in the mid-table, and they will keep going as they were going before. Key player, I think this season is going to be Joe Allen, another new transfer. I was gonna say Mbula, but I think that Joe Allen, because he hasn't played much recently, is gonna show his true class at Stoke. In 11th, I've put Watford. Now, a lot of people have tipped Watford to struggle more this season, but I think they're fine. I think in Walter Mazzari, they've got a good manager who has experience, and they've also brought in some pretty good players as well, like Cabaselli, the centre-back. He's solid. Isaac Success, he can bring success to Watford, the striker. But their key player, I think, is going to be another new transfer for them, and that's Jerome Sinclair from Liverpool. Now, yeah, this one's a bit risky, really, because I don't know if he'll play or not, but they did sign him for 4 million, so I don't think they're not going to play him, personally. And now, dead middle, in the middle of the table, I have Southampton. Obviously, last season surprised everyone. They just quietly finished 6th, you know. They just came out of nowhere, but now they've lost their manager, Ronald Koeman, who is a huge loss to Southampton. They've lost Sadio Mane, they've lost Graziano Pella to China, and, you know, Southampton seem to be selling their best players year on year, but I think the season is a little bit too far for them, and they haven't brought in any replacements this time either. When they sold the likes of Lallana, Lovren and Lambert to Liverpool, they brought in like Tadic and Pella to replace them, you know. But this time round they've sold Mane and Pella and haven't brought in a replacement for them. But in terms of the striking department, they have a key player, and his name is Charlie Austin. Obviously, he signed for Southampton in January and scored a couple goals, but then got injured. So that's why you didn't see much of him. In 9th position, something that probably will surprise a lot of you, I have Liverpool. Now, the reason I have Liverpool to finish so far down, compared to some, is, you know, the kind of transfers they've made. They've signed good players, but they've not signed players that will propel them up the table. They've kind of signed players that are suited to where they were in the table last season, because I think they finished, what, 8th or 7th? 8th they finished. You know, Ragnar Klavan, decent defender. Matip is a perfect replacement for Skrtel, even though that's not what was intended. But Liverpool, I think, will finish 9th. And their key player is going to be, well, I keep saying key player, it's player to watch, it's not going to be their key player. Sadio Mane from Southampton, of course. They signed him from Southampton for, what was it, 36 million? That's far too much for him. I know he's good, but he's not 36 million good. But then again, that's what some clubs are like these days, isn't it? They pay what they're willing to pay. So Sadio Mane is going to be a player to watch for them. I think that he will come in and he will do a very decent job. But yeah, Liverpool to finish 9th, and I know that will annoy a lot of Liverpool fans. Another thing that will annoy a lot of Liverpool fans is that I have Everton to finish above them. I am not going to be popular on Merseyside, well, the Liverpool bit of Merseyside anyway. Everton I've got to finish 8th, and why is that? Ronald Koeman. It's simple as that. Ronald Koeman has gone to Everton. That's it. You know, I think that he can get them up the table. Roberto Martinez started off really well at Everton. I think they got their record points total in his first season. But they kind of dropped off, and defensively they were terrible. And their player to watch, Idrissa Gueye, that's the one I was trying to think of. Last season, second in interceptions and tackles and all that to Kante. That's it. Of course, N'Golo Kante for Leicester was top in interceptions and all of that. Idrissa Gueye was second for Aston Villa, and Everton have got a very good player in him. I think he's going to do very well. In 7th place, I have last season's champions, Leicester City, of course, shocking the entire football world by winning the Premier League for the first time in their history. It was a fantastic achievement for them, but I don't think they're going to do it again this season. And the reason is because they'll have so many more games. They've lost Kante as well to Chelsea, which is a huge loss for them, although I think Nampalys Mendy will step in well and do a very good job for them. And Andy King as well is not a bad player. He is a very good player as well, but No, with Champions League football, I think they're going to drop off a bit, but they're still going to play really well. They've just got to rotate their squad a bit, and that's why I think they'll finish 7th. Their player to watch is going to be Ahmed Musa, who is a fantastic player. Those goals he scored against Barcelona were brilliant, but I'm not basing it just on that. I'm basing it on the fact that he is a fantastic player. He is basically another Jamie Vardy in a way, except he's got a bit more about him. He can dribble round people. Jamie Vardy can do that, but Musa can do it better. Now in 6th place, and I'm not going to be popular in North London either, or this part anyway, Arsenal. I have Arsenal to finish 6th and possibly miss out on European football. It depends who wins the cups. But I think everyone will have figured Arsenal out by now. Yes, they've brought in Xhaka, brilliant signing. But who else? Rob Holding from Bolton? To be honest with you, I think he's going to play. Because at the moment they don't have Koscielny, they don't have Gabriel, and they don't have Mertesacker. They could be signing Mustafi from Valencia. The problem with Arsenal, they need a striker. They need one. Giroud is not going to win you the league. In fact, he's not even going to win you games. And he's not a goal scorer either. So, I think Arsenal are in the rough at the moment. They need a world-class striker or a striker that scores goals. And if they don't get that, then they are going to struggle. And it's Wenger's last year as well. That could have an impact. But their player to watch is going to be Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, this was a tough one to pick because there's so many players Arsenal have got. I was thinking of putting Xhaka, but I've put so many new transfers in that I'd need to put players in that were already there. And I think that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain needs a big season. A bit like Jefferson Montero for Swansea. If Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain doesn't have a good season for Arsenal this season, then he's going. He is going to go. In 5th place, which may be another shock to you guys, Chelsea. Chelsea to finish 5th. Now, again, they don't have the distraction of European football, a bit like Liverpool, but Liverpool, I don't think it matters with Liverpool. They don't have the distraction of European football, which will help them, but I think Chelsea are in transition at the moment. They've signed Kante, which is good, and they've signed Batshuayi, who's a very good striker at that. But will he play? That's the problem. And Chelsea, yeah, like I said, they're in transition, so I don't think they're going to propel back up into the top 3, top 4 straight away. I think they're just going to steadily rise back up, Chelsea, because look at what happened to Manchester United. Think about it. They finished 7th under David Moyes, so they sacked him, and then since then they just haven't got back on track. You know, they finished 4th and 5th, and I think the same thing will happen to Chelsea. I don't think they'll sack Conte, but I think they're just going to steadily rise. Maybe this season finish 5th, and then the next season finish maybe 4th or 3rd, and you know, just get back up to the top slowly. Slow rise. You need to be patient. And their player to watch is going to be, of course, N'Golo Kante. Who else? Who else am I going to put for Chelsea? Well, let me just tell you what teams I have left. I have Man United, I have Tottenham, I have Man City, and I have West Ham to finish 4th. Why do I think West Ham are going to finish 4th, I hear you ask? Well, for starters, yes, they're in the Europa League, but I don't think they have the team to get far in that. So there's a start. So that's why I think they're going to finish higher than 7th. Secondly, they've moved into what is now called the London Stadium. Of course, it was the Olympic Stadium in the past. So they've got, you know, it's double the size of Upton Park. So they've got more support behind them. They've signed Andre Ayew, they've signed Feghouli, they've signed Gökhan Toure. Their player to watch, of course, is Sofiane Feghouli. He's a fantastic player. He really is. West Ham have pulled off a fantastic signing there. He could have gone to anyone in the Premier League, in my opinion. Spurs, Tottenham, whatever you want to call them. Tottenham will finish 3rd, in my opinion. Why do I think that? They've got the squad to do it now. With Vincent Janssen as backup to Harry Kane, they have 2 strikers who can score goals. And obviously, because they've got Champions League football as well. And Tottenham, things are looking good for them, in my opinion. They're looking very, very good for Tottenham. And that's why I have them to finish 3rd. Their player to watch, as I probably said, is Vincent Janssen. He's a goal scorer. They needed another striker, let alone another goal scorer. And they've now got 2 goal scorers, Harry Kane and Vincent Janssen up front. The 2 teams left are the Manchester clubs, Manchester City and Manchester United. Who do I have to win the league? Well, you're about to find out. In 2nd place in the Premier League next season, I have Manchester United. Now, why do I have Man City over Man United? Well, let me just talk about Man United first. For starters, they've signed Ibrahimovic, they've signed Bailey, they've signed Pogba, they've signed flipping anyone. They have had the best transfer window in my opinion, but the reason I don't have them to win the league is just because I think Man City are better. I think Man City's team will be better than Manchester United's this season. Oh, Mkhitaryan, he is the player to watch this season. The reason I put him as the player to watch is because everyone's been talking about Ibra and Pogba, but Mkhitaryan has kind of gone under the radar a bit, you know. There's people who've kind of forgot about him in a way, you know. I say forgot, no one will have forgotten about him, but everyone's just thought of Ibra and Pogba, haven't they? Mkhitaryan, how many assists did he get last season? Dortmund, was it 24 or something like that? But now, flip me, hold on a minute. But now, the new champions of the Premier League, I think, are going to be Manchester City. For starters, the one advantage they have over Manchester United is their manager. Pep Guardiola, yes, he's inexperienced when it comes to the Premier League, but the clubs he's managed, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, you can't get better than that unless you manage Real Madrid as well. You cannot get better than that. It's mad. They've signed what Man City have done though. Man United have just brought players that are good now, you know, although Pogba could be good, is going to be good in the future as well. You know, Man City have signed players that are decent now, but are going to be flipping good in the future. Who have they got? John Stones, he's decent now and he's going to be good in the future. Leroy Sané, Gabriel Jesus. You know, they've also, you know, they've brought in a nice mix as well because they've got players that are good now, like Gundogan, Nolito. Man City have absolutely done themselves proud. You've got Man City fans, you've got to be proud of your club right now. You've brought in a world-class manager. You've brought in players that are good now and going to be world-class in the future. Maybe just good now, or maybe world-class now. But anyway, their player to watch this season is none of those. It's Kelechi Iheanacho. You guys might know how much I like this guy, Kelechi Iheanacho. Last season, he just burst on the scene out of nowhere. Pre-season was brilliant for him, and that's what made him start and play all the games that he played. And with the fact that Pep likes playing younger players as well, Iheanacho is going to get a lot more game time unless he plays Jesus instead. But Iheanacho is going to get a lot more game time under Pep Guardiola. And I think that Manchester City are going to win the Premier League next season. So that is it, guys. That is my Premier League predictions. Take a good look at the table on the left. Let me know what you think in the comments below, because I might have screwed up somewhere, you know what I mean? But that is just my opinion. Okay? If you're a fan of Burnley, Swansea and Hull, come at me. I don't care. I don't hate Burnley, Swansea and Hull. I don't love Man City. I don't support anyone, hate anyone in the Premier League. I am a complete neutral, unbiased person when it comes to watching the Premier League, and that's why I love it so much, because I'm not a fan of any other clubs. I just like watching it. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, maybe you want me to do some more predictions. I know the seasons have already started, but maybe you want me to do the EFL tables, the La Liga, the Bundesliga. Just let me know and I'll do them. So until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching, and also leave a like if you enjoyed. Peace. I don't know any others though. Google Feud, because I'd love to microwave Google Feud right now the way I'm going. What happens if you microwave an egg? Weed. Should have put that really, shouldn't I? Dry ice. I didn't really think of that though. Right,